Welcome to my channel, Still Mind Mastery. Have you ever looked at a woman and felt something's wrong, but she's not saying it? Maybe she's smiling, acting normal, doing everything she always does, but deep down, she feels emotionally alone. Today, I'm revealing 13 powerful psychology-backed signs a woman is emotionally lonely, even if she hides it from everyone. Because women rarely say, I feel lonely. Instead, their behavior changes. Quietly, subtly, almost invisibly. Let's begin. Sign 1, she becomes emotionally independent, but not in a healthy way. Most people think independence is strength, and yes, real independence is powerful. But emotional loneliness creates a different kind of independence. This is the kind where a woman says things like, I'm fine, I don't need anyone, I'll handle it myself. Not because she wants to, but because she feels like she has no one to rely on. The truth? Emotional loneliness teaches her to stop expecting care, because expecting hurts more than being alone. A psychologically lonely woman doesn't cry for help. She simply adapts. She becomes the caretaker, the problem solver, the one who never needs anything. But inside, she desperately wishes someone would notice without her having to ask. Transition, and that leads to the next sign, the one hidden behind her silence. Sign 2. She talks less about her feelings. Women are naturally expressive, not dramatic, expressive. That's how they process emotions. So when a woman suddenly stops sharing how she feels, this is rarely because she has nothing to say. It's because she believes nobody listens, nobody understands, or she doesn't want to bother anyone. Here's the psychology. Emotional loneliness doesn't make her quiet. It makes her afraid of being a burden. She holds back. She silences her thoughts. She convinces herself that others have bigger problems. But deep down, she wishes someone would ask, Hey, what's really going on with you? Transition. And that is where the third sign reveals itself, in subtle behavioral changes. Sign 3. She laughs less, even if she pretends to be fine. Women who feel emotionally lonely often still try to appear upbeat. They smile, they joke, they try to stay positive, but pay attention to the eyes. You'll notice it. Her laughter becomes shorter, less genuine. Psychologists call this surface acting, where someone displays emotions they don't feel just to keep social harmony. She may say, I'm just tired, or it's been a long week. But the truth is, when emotional connection fades, joy loses its spark. Transition. And this emotional dimming starts influencing everything, including her social life. Sign 4. She starts pulling away from social groups. Contrary to stereotype, emotionally lonely women don't always seek more people. They often seek less. Why? Because emotional loneliness makes group interactions feel draining. It becomes effort, not enjoyment. She may decline meetups, stop replying in group chats, stay home more often, just not feel like going. But here's the surprising part. She doesn't isolate because she hates people. She isolates because she doesn't feel truly connected to anyone. There's a difference between having people around and having people who understand you, and she can feel surrounded yet invisible at the same time. Transition. Her digital behavior changes too, and that's the next sign. Sign 5. She spends more time on her phone, but less time actually speaking to people. Emotionally lonely women often live in the online world, not for entertainment, but for escape. Scrolling is numbing. It quiets the mind. It distracts her from what she feels. But here's the key observation. She's online, but not really communicating with anyone. No long conversations, no deep exchanges, just silence behind the screen. Her phone becomes a shield, a way to avoid emotional reality. Transition. And then, something unexpected happens with her standards. Sign 6. She accepts the bare minimum. This is one of the most heartbreaking signs. When a woman feels emotionally lonely, her expectations of people start to drop. She stops asking for effort. She stops demanding respect. She stops expecting consistency. Because loneliness whispers, be grateful for whatever you get. Something is better than nothing. So she tolerates delayed replies, low effort, shallow conversations, unbalanced relationships, not because she thinks she deserves less, but because she thinks this is all that exists for her. Transition. Slowly, this emotional hunger turns inward and begins affecting how she sees herself. Sign 7. She overthinks small things. Women who feel emotionally lonely often have highly active minds. Why? Because without emotional grounding, the brain fills the empty space with worry. She may overthink text messages, someone's tone, her own decisions, tiny mistakes. Did I say something wrong? She analyzes everything, not because she wants to, but because she doesn't have the emotional reassurance that pulls her back into balance. Psychology calls this hypervigilance caused by emotional deprivation. When she feels alone, her mind becomes her loudest companion. Transition. And when the mind gets loud, sleep suffers next. Sign 8. She has trouble sleeping. Not all lonely women cry at night. Many simply stay awake. They lie in bed scrolling, thinking, staring at the ceiling. Their minds replay the day. Their emotions feel heavier at night because nights amplify silence. She may stay up late, wake up tired, have irregular sleep patterns, struggle to relax. Sleep becomes the place where her loneliness shows up the most. Transition. And this emotional exhaustion spills over into her appearance. Sign 9. She stops taking care of herself the way she used to. A woman who feels emotionally lonely often loses the motivation for self-care, not because she doesn't care, but because she doesn't feel seen. She may stop dressing up, stop doing her hair, lose interest in hobbies, skip skincare, or routines, eat differently. This isn't laziness, it's emotional fatigue. When the heart feels empty, the world loses color, and she begins living on autopilot. Transition. And this autopilot mode brings us to the next sign. Sign 10. She feels tired. Even when she's not physically busy, emotional loneliness drains energy faster than physical work. It's mental exhaustion, emotional heaviness, the weight of unspoken feelings. She may say, I'm tired, but she didn't actually do much that day. This happens because the brain is constantly running in the background, processing emotions she doesn't talk about, and emotional processing burns energy just like physical activity. Transition. This mental exhaustion then influences how she behaves around others. Sign 11. She becomes more sensitive or completely numb. This sign is tricky because it looks like two opposite behaviors, but both come from the same cause. Some emotionally lonely women become sensitive. A small comment can hurt them deeply. They react strongly to emotional cues because loneliness makes emotions louder. Others become numb, silent, detached, unreactive. They show little outward emotion because feeling anything too deeply hurts. Sensitivity and numbness are simply two sides of emotional self-protection. Transition, and this internal protection leads to a major behavioral shift. Sign 12. She avoids deeper conversations. A lonely woman might talk about daily life, jokes, movies, or small events. But when the topic goes deeper, she changes the subject. Why? Because deeper conversations require vulnerability, and vulnerability feels unsafe when someone has felt unseen for too long. So she keeps conversations surface level, safe, controlled, predictable. Deep down, however, she craves deeper connection more than anything. She just doesn't know how to ask for it anymore. Transition, and finally, the most important sign of all. Sign 13. She pretends she doesn't need anyone. This is the final, most misunderstood sign. A woman who is emotionally lonely often develops a strong I don't care attitude. She may say, I don't need anyone. I'm used to being alone. I prefer being by myself. But here's the psychology. When someone feels consistently emotionally lonely, they protect themselves by rejecting the very thing they desire: connection. Pretending not to need anyone is easier than admitting she feels alone. She builds walls, not to keep people out, but to stop herself from getting hurt again. Conclusion: bringing everything together. Emotional loneliness is invisible. A woman can appear strong, independent, cheerful, and normal while feeling completely unseen on the inside. These signs don't mean she's broken. They don't mean she's weak. They don't mean she's dramatic. They mean she has a heart that feels deeply and a mind that tries to cope alone because she doesn't want to burden anyone. So if you notice these signs in someone, a friend, a partner, a sister, a coworker, don't ignore them. Sometimes all a woman needs is one person who says, "I see you, I hear you, I'm here." And that small act can change everything. Call to action. Strong ending. If this video opened your eyes, if it helped you understand female psychology better, or if it made you think of someone who might be emotionally lonely, make sure you hit like. If you want more deep psychology-based videos like this, tap subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another powerful breakdown. And share this video with someone who needs to understand these silent signs. Thank you for watching, and remember, empathy is the most powerful connection we have.